Like the best analogy I can say is like we're kind of at that teenager going to adult phase.
Okay. Welcome back, everyone. This is Griot of the Diaspora, and I am your host, Nakira G. And today we have a guest. His name is Joe from Tech Labari, and we are going to be talking about a few different topics today. We're going to talk about Ghana's tech industry, and we're going to talk about the year of return tourism. Did it impact the economy or did it not? And then we're going to also answer the question that so many people want to know: should you Japa or should you stay? So first, we're going to start off with Ghana's tech industry. But before we do that, how are you?
I'm doing pretty well. How about yourself?
I'm good. So before we get into the deep stuff, can you tell the people like what part of Ghana you're from, what languages you speak, the very basic things?
Oh yeah, sure. So I was born and raised in Ghana from the Upper West region. It's a place nobody really talks about, but yeah, Upper West region. My dad's from there, my mom's from there. I unfortunately don't speak the language because I was spoken English when I was little, and they never bothered to teach us. So unfortunately, this is what happens. But yeah, born and raised in Ghana all my life. Left in about 2005 to the States, came back 2012, and I've been here ever since.
Okay, what did you do in the States?
Mostly, I did 1 year of high school and I did college for the entire 5 years. So I left for like 6 years and came back.
Okay, so you didn't go to college in Ghana?
No, I did not.
Real quick, y'all, make sure you download my new ebook. It is a travel planner and journal. I made this about 1.5 years ago, and it's really, really cool. There are 10 different entries, so as you are on your travel journeys, make sure you download this ebook. It's only $10, and you can get it on my website today at nakedgoldonline.com. You can download it, you can print it, whatever works for you. Make sure you cop that today. I went to UG for 1 year. I studied abroad, but okay, that's interesting. So what was your introduction to the tech industry?
Yeah, I've always been a tech person ever since I was small. I wanted to do computer science. So when I went to college, that's what I did. I signed up for computer science, but then I switched to business, but it was more of the management information systems kind. So kind of business around computer systems.
Okay.
So did that. I was blogging actually in college about tech. So from there, when I came back to Ghana, I kind of continued that trend.
Yeah.
And started following what's happening in Ghana as far as the tech scene.
Yeah. So can you tell me a little bit about Tech Labari?
Sure. So when I came back to Ghana, I was trying to find like lots of news articles about what's happening in the system, but the way the media was structured, it was more about politics, sports, entertainment type of stuff. So around 2015-16, I started to say, hey, nobody's really doing tech stuff when it comes to Ghana. So I was like, let me start something and see what happens. So 2017 officially launched, and it's been upwards from there.
Okay. And is that the same website where you show your data and things that you do? So can you talk a little bit about data and data collecting?
Yes. So one of the struggles I'm always finding is trying to find information when it comes, especially in Ghana, and basically most of Africa. It's like you're trying to find data, you're looking for surveys and stuff, you never find them online. So what I've been doing is I've been collecting data from different sources and just putting them all in one place and showcasing it. So Tech Labari added that data component last year. So we're saying that if you want to come and find data about Africa, you come to our website. There's a particular section called Data Points. So if you want to find anything about Ghana when it pertains to technology, society, population type stuff, we've dug out information, put it together, put it in charts and graphs, so you can easily see from 2015 to 2027, 2026, like this is the data for how much money mobile money is made. Here's what happens when it comes to birth rates in Ghana, things like that. So we're just trying to build that data visualization platform for everybody to see.
Nice. So let's get into Ghana's tech industry. Because so many of the viewers and the audience will be from abroad, how would you describe Ghana's tech industry? Like, is it comparable to another country? Is there an analogy that you can give for people to kind of understand it? Or like, how would you describe today Ghana's tech industry?
Like the best analogy I can say is like we're kind of at that teenager going to adult phase.
Okay.
Yeah, we're 25. So in the beginning, it was, I think it really started to pick up around 2014. That's when we started doing more of, like startup, like Silicon Valley type things where we're trying to raise money, grow, expand, things like that. But we're kind of in this phase now where it's like, okay, we're maturing. People are noticing us. We're dollars, we're being noticed by outsiders. So yeah, we're still in that like teenager phase. We're growing. There's still some growing pains. People trying to figure out like what's the best products to put out for people to consume and get better. So if I had to describe, I'd say teenage phase, we're now going into our early adulthood.
Okay. That's interesting. So would you say that funding is a problem, or is it mentality, or is it electricity, or is it government? Like what are the things that would need to happen in order for Ghana to get to that adult phase, maybe quicker or more efficiently?
It's a number of factors. I think it's networking comes into play because like you have to find out who do you know who is interested in actually helping you grow as far as funding. So you have a product, you want to find somebody who can give you money. Now you got to find somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. And that's kind of our I would say issue, but that's where we are right now, trying to figure that out. Also, a little bit of, I would say, problem solving. There's a lot of problems in Ghana, but how do you attach a tech, issue to it where it can fix it? The biggest thing right now is fintech. Money is a big thing. How do I move money from one place to the other? Lots of people are doing different solutions for that. But there's other areas we need to find out how to grow with technology. So how do you do agriculture? How do you scale it? Because, how do you solve transportation moving like fruit produce from one region of Ghana to another region of Ghana? How can it be tracked? So there's little thing we need to fix about, there's problems, but how do you use a tech-enabled solution to fix it? So two things come to mind is the networking part, how to find people, get the money and raise your business, and also the tech problem solving. How do you solve that technology?
I'm curious when it comes to the tech industry in Ghana because two things. One, on social media, you'll commonly see like this 13-year-old boy created this invention in Africa and then that's it. You don't know about the person after that. You don't know if they got funding, if they got what you really like. There's no after effect of the story. And so I'm assuming that you probably heard stories like that of usually youth, like children in Ghana, who are creating these very monumental things that, at least for people in the diaspora, when we hear it, we think, oh, that's a whole industry. That's a whole like, oh, okay, wow, they're good. You know what I mean? How does that translate in reality?
So the thing I've noticed that we like, especially that we like splashy headlines. So what tends to happen is somebody creates something and it's good, but what happens is that it's blown up a little too big. So somebody creates a cool product and it looks nice and great, but it's a kind of a side project. It's not meant to like be a big scalable business. It's a nice thing that somebody be able to build, like maybe manufacture their own drone. That's a cool thing, but it's a project. It's a side project they're doing. So what tends to happen is a news media will pick it up, another one pick it up, and not before you know it, it becomes a huge viral story. But on the ground, that kid or that person who built it was just doing something small for himself. He never meant it to be anything big or a huge project, but we like that stories of, we're kind of, doing something big. We're struggling here, we have no resources, but we're building these little things here. So that's kind of our issue. So on the ground, it's not as big as people think it is, but because of the media aspect, the spotlight, it looks bigger than it is.
It's Kiki.
With technology, is it moving at a pace where the people are able to, they have enough time with it? Because and the reason why I ask that is because like in America, we have pretty much like 5 to 10 years with a new thing that comes out and then that's it. And then if you decide to keep on with that thing, it's kind of like people act like you're in the Stone Age because you're still using like, people who use Facebook, for instance, there's people who are like, oh, you're still using Facebook. And it's like, well, yeah, because it still works. Like, why not? So I know abroad, we kind of have this like fast mentality with things, and we don't spend time with things. Is it like that here? Or are people spending more time with things because they want to or they have to?
We're still like stuck on some things, like as you mentioned with Facebook. Like in Ghana, I think Ghanaians, like Facebook is the biggest social media platform in Ghana. I think it's about 10, 15 million people on Facebook in Ghana alone, which is big. People will say, oh, well, I'm on Twitter, I'm on X, but X is very small. It's like only like 1 million people on X in the whole of Ghana. But because everybody's kind of trapped in this bubble, it doesn't seem like it doesn't feel like it's small, but it is. So people are still stuck on the whole thing. WhatsApp is still a big thing. People are still going to be WhatsApping you left and right. We're saying in America, people are using Messenger or other, iOS, they're using iMessage. But in Ghana, we WhatsApp everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody's on WhatsApp. And it doesn't seem like a big thing, but it is a huge thing.
Yeah.
So like Facebook's still a big thing. WhatsApp is a big thing. We don't necessarily jump to the newest thing. I mean, yes, there's always going to be the early adopters. Like, oh, I'm using this AI, ChatGPT, whatever. But majority of people are not using ChatGPT. They've heard about it, but now they're using it in their daily lives. If you go to businesses, banks, and whatnot, they're still using rudimentary, Google searches. But for the early adopters, they're using ChatGPT every day. But it's still a slow, process of jumping onto the next big thing, whether it's AI, iMessage, things like that. But we're still going to use what we used to, whether it's WhatsApp, Facebook, and etc.
Nice. So I'm curious because I remember I did a video recently, and sometimes I'll take tweets that I see, or I don't know what we call them now because it's X, so it's like, I don't know. But when you see posts on X or whatever, there's comments in my YouTube, and they're like, oh, people on social media is you can't take the opinion of people on social media because it's not like they don't, like trying to say like, oh, the people on Twitter, they're not plenty. And I had to respond and be like, those are still people.
Yeah.
So even if you're talking about an opinion, even if it's one person's opinion, that opinion still matters. It's still valid, regardless of if there's hundreds of millions of people that agree with it. And so I'm also very curious, like, how does social media play a role in the way that Ghanaians either network or become educated about different things outside of their academic curriculum? Would you say it's a positive thing? It's a negative thing? Is it doing more good than bad? And I ask that because, in America, we just seen the TikTok ban, right? And they're trying to pretend as if like the ban is happening because there's some evil thing that TikTok is doing, whereas it's more so about they just want an American to own it.
Yeah.
But let's say TikTok was this evil thing, right? Do you feel like social media has helped? Like, let's say in the past decade, would you say that social media has helped in a positive way or in a more destructive way?
I mean, there's both positives and negatives. If I touch on the positives, what I would say is that we're seeing more, I guess you can say more citizen journalism. So people are going to places, they're taking a phone out, they're posting pictures, videos, and they're tweeting it and posting it for everybody to see.
Yeah. And
when there's a big issue, what happens is that news organizations pick it up from social media and they make it a news item. So now it's broadcast across the country about certain issues. I think it was last year, it was about the Galamsey issue. People are going out, getting drone footage about the rivers and the illegal mining and posting on social media.
Yeah.
And everybody is seeing it. I think it was picked up, because of social media, it was picked up by BBC, CNN. So it became kind of this broad issue because of social media. Back in the day, you wouldn't get that much. If the news didn't pick it up or write about it or post about it, you wouldn't know. But because of social media, that's where the news is being created. But the negative aspect of it is that now there's more misinformation. People are more gullible. When they see something online, they think it's true. So their immediate reaction is, I'm going to post this, and I'm going to share with my thousands of followers and stuff. And then they post it, and they retweet it and whatever, and now it becomes a big issue. Now somebody has to come out and say, well, actually, that's not true, because this and that and this and that. So there's positives and negatives. What happened is citizen journalism is getting better, but misinformation is getting worse as well. So you have to look at it from two aspects.
Yeah. Let's say, for example, in America, when it comes to the tech industry, pretty much that is something that we consider a 9-to-5 job. That is something that you go to apply at Google. You go to apply to work at X and things like that. But when you talked about the tech industry here, there's still the build-up process. There's still, even just getting some of those companies that exist outside that we all use here, but they're not here yet. There's no headquarters here, or and some things are just banned, and they also haven't built a business relationship with the government and things like that. Let's say someone from the diaspora, particularly whether it's the Ghanaian diaspora or the Black diaspora, and they are in technology, whether it's fintech or whether it's engineering, developing things. Should they be more inclined to have like a entrepreneurial aspect of that when coming here versus, because back like in America, I wouldn't say most, but I would say a lot of people go into that industry knowing that they're going to be a worker, right? Whereas here, you kind of have to create that thing. But what does that look like?
So like I said, here we're still in the building phase, still a lot of problems. So if you're coming from the diaspora, what you need to know is the systems you may be used to, the States, they're here, but they're not like really fully built yet. So things like, consumer protection, things like that. If you're dealing with money, for instance, you need to know that maybe if a bank goes down in the US, you're likely to get protection for your money. Here, we don't have the laws and regulations that protects maybe consumers from losing their money. For instance, if somebody sends or scams you in using mobile money, your money is basically lost. Like it's almost hard to trace or find out the person who did it. But back in the States, you're almost likely, because the systems are more integrated and connected, where you can track the person and most likely get your money back. So if you're coming from the diaspora, coming here, you need to know that you are kind of building from the ground up. There are some systems in place, but you need to know that it's not fully built. So you need to have in the back of your head that you're still building from scratch in a way. You're not going to work a 9 to 5. You kind of have to get on the phone, get somebody who knows somebody to actually help you build out what you're trying to build. Because it's not easy, even though tech is a big thing, people are still struggling, like getting access to like resources like computers and stuff. Even the internet is expensive. And if you live in a bad area where the electricity is not consistent, you're gonna have issues with that as well. So you need to have in the back of your head that we're still building and still some issues here and there that you need to kind of put your hand in the dirt and try to build up.
Real quick, y'all, make sure you download my new ebook. It is a travel planner and journal. I made this about 1.5 years ago, and it's really, really cool. There are 10 different entries. So as you are on your travel journeys, make sure you download this ebook. It's only $10, and you can get it on my website today at nakedgoldonline.com. You can download it, you can print it, whatever works for you. Make sure you cop that today.